Well, good morning, my workplace warriors. I am so happy that today is Friday. I hope you are too, and I hope your week has been a good one. I would be remiss without just expressing my concern and let you know that prayers are, going out to those who were impacted by yet another hurricane, Hurricane Milton. And unfortunately, some of those people got impacted by not only Milton, but they had already been impacted by Hurricane Helene. So just really keeping them in my thoughts and prayers for safety, for restoration, and for a resilient spirit. Because if you're one of those people, I know things probably are looking pretty bleak right now, but I encourage you to be grateful for life and definitely keeping those who lost family members in both of the storms, keeping them in prayer for their strength and for God's comfort to them at this time as well. Um, just praying for restoration and something that will give you a rainbow of hope, and that we will continue to show unity and support those who have been through these devastating experiences. Because but for the grace of God, but for the grace of God, it could have been any of us. So definitely happy that that my family members who were in the storm's path, that they are fine. My sister and brother-in-law let me know that that they're fine, and so we definitely thank God for that, because they live in Tampa, right in the Bay Area on the Bay. So yeah, just wanted to start out with that. But switching gears to a happy place, it's time for our Friday morning live. And I am so excited about today's topic that I'm going to share with you. And I hope that you will find great value from it. It's, of course, an article from one of my favorite research resources, which is MSN.com, their lifestyle section. I don't know why it's not in money and careers, but this one is in the lifestyle section. And the title of the article is 14 Pro Level Interview Hacks You'll Wish You Knew Sooner. So I'm going to share those with you. We're going to go through this article and break it down and see how much value everybody can get from it, and start putting these things and these hacks into play, hopefully immediately, if you are currently in an active job search. So um, today's title of our video is interview hacks from the pros that you can use too. So the first one, first of all, we know there are certain things that pretty much every interview candidate or job candidate knows that they should do. But sometimes there are ways that you can go the extra mile. So that's what we're going to talk about today. These hacks that where you can go the extra mile, and it could put you in front of the other candidates. So let's look at the first one: arriving early. And I always tell people to get to their interview 10 to 15 minutes early. If you get there more, that's usually the sweet spot. If you get there earlier, like 20 or 30 minutes, we recently had a candidate arrive over an hour early, and I understand we work in Midtown Atlanta, and the parking, as you can probably understand, is not the most convenient. And so she did a good thing by getting there early, but she got there so early that when we set her in the reception area, um, she got to see the other candidate who was being interviewed and when their interview ended. And that can be a little bit of an uncomfortable situation for either candidate. So if you get there 10 to 15 minutes early, that's usually, like I said, the sweet spot where maybe the other interview has ended and the interviewers, if it's an interview panel, they're probably debriefing about how the previous candidate performed during their interview, and then they're making sure that they have all of the information they need in preparation for your interview. So keep that in mind. Um, Now, arriving 10 to 15 minutes early does show that you are punctual, and it gives you a few moments to kind of, calm your nerves because the interview process is can be very stressful. And then you can take that time to review your notes and check out the company's environment and see what type of vibes you're getting from people walking by, if they speak, and things like that. And just be really ready when the interview starts. Bring a portfolio. I cannot stress to you how important this is. And first of all, let me back up to say, if you are not currently in a job, an active job search, or if you're planning to be in an active job search, make sure that you gather some samples, some of the samples of your work that you're most proud of. You need to make sure that that you have samples of your written communication skills. Um, and that can be a letter, email, or what have you, but also make sure that you redact any information like anyone else's work email address. You want your work email address to show up um, so that it proves that you were a part of this correspondence. And but anyone else who you send the email to, or who you receive the email from, their work email address should be redacted, and any confidential information that is discussed, any business specifics or names, should also be redacted. And then you can get a screen grab of it, redact the information, or redact the information first, get a screen grab, and then save it as an image, like a PNG image, so that you can upload it to a digital portfolio or what have you. And please don't walk into an interview these days with a physical binder unless there are some aspects of your work that you just can't save digitally. I don't know. I mean, I know that there would be some career fields that would have that aspect, but for the most part, try to make your portfolio digital. For one, you'll be able to send a link to share a link with your interviewers, even in your cover letter. And that's what I do, is share a link to my digital portfolio in my cover letter, and so that they can access it at their convenience. Make sure that your portfolio is well put together and, like I said, showcases your best projects and demonstrates your attention to detail and professionalism, and provide a variety of pieces of your work so that it can show the full scope of the duties and responsibilities that you take care of every day. Make eye contact, and you don't have to stare at the person, but you can while you're having conversation with them, with the interviewer. And and this is another thing that a lot of people don't realize is, if you're being interviewed by a panel, what you need to do is you need to make sure that you create eye contact with each panel member while you are um, responding to the questions that they ask you. So just make sure that you kind of, gaze from, left to right or right to left, and just make sure that you pause at each person and establish eye contact, with them for a few seconds while you are responding to the interview questions. And that will go a long way, because some people, they establish eye contact with one person, and it's almost like they are only speaking to that person, like they forgot that they're being interviewed by a panel. So just be mindful of that. Then next, practice common questions. Oh my gosh, I cannot tell you, as an HR professional with over 30 years of experience in the field, and at least 25 of those being involved in the interview and selection process, it is so evident when someone does not practice common questions. I mean, I understand, every interviewer understands that you are not going to be able to guess absolutely every possible interview question that you may be asked for during an interview. But you can practice the common questions, like, one, tell me about yourself. And that's where some people start out and they stumble and they get off to a negative um, start, because they didn't practice answering common questions. You can practice with your significant other. Let them play as the interviewer. Have a list of questions. Give them the job description, and maybe you can even create your own common or practice interview questions, and then give them to your significant other, your child, a friend, a trusted friend or family member, and try to practice them however the interview is going to be conducted that you participate in. If it's going to be a virtual interview, then jump on Google Meet or Zoom if you have a Zoom account, and you all practice that way. If you're not able to do that, then that's fine. As long as you practice, practice is better than no practice at all. However, there was something else I was going to share with you. Oh, if you don't have anyone to practice with, let's say you're trying to keep your job search under wraps and you're not sharing the fact that you are looking for another career opportunity, so you can practice in front of the mirror. That can be just as effective. You ask yourself the question and then you answer the question, but you establish eye contact in the mirror. You look at your body language, and I recommend that when you do the practice interviews, it would be great if you recorded them. Set up your cell phone or your laptop or whatever, even if it's not going to be a virtual interview. Record your practice interviews so that you can watch your body language, see how many times you say, I know I have that tendency to use filler words, and you want to minimize that, and just use it to make the necessary tweaks to your interview performance that can make the difference between you going to the next level or not. Let's see. And let me make one recommendation point about the tell me about yourself. Don't start from I was born in 1967, what have you. give them, they want to know a little bit about you personally and a little bit about you professionally. But remember, you're going to be telling them, sharing a lot about yourself professionally through your responses to the interview questions. So I recommend to my clients that I coach that you start off with maybe I don't share anything about your family status, whether you're married, whether you're a parent, what your religion is, or what have you. But maybe just start off with, well, yes, I am. You can say if you're a native of the state where you are, I relocated here a few years ago. I consider it home now. Really like it. I got involved or got interested, became interested in human resources during my sophomore year of college when I, through a work study assignment, got an opportunity to be a work study assistant in my university's career services department. And as I learned more about the job search process and the application process, I began to really like it and pretty much made my decision then that I wanted to be a human resources professional. Now, when I'm not a human resources professional, I like to read, I like to write. I'm working on writing a book. I also like to cook and I like to spend time with friends and family. And I love music. Guess what? You will have done an excellent job, and that's my summary of who I am, basically, to that question, in response to that question of tell me about yourself. So moving right along, make sure you smile. We know that the interview process is stressful, but that's why it's good to arrive early, kind of take some deep breaths, get yourself mentally and emotionally and spiritually centered so that you can bring your best self to the table and you can smile and show them that awesome demeanor that you have, that approachable demeanor. And it's okay to have appropriate, to infuse some appropriate light humor in the conversation as well, especially if you know who your interviewers are in advance. You can look for them on Facebook and on LinkedIn and other platforms. And if you all have some common interest, then you can let them know that, hey, I saw you that you love to bake, and as I said, I like to cook in my spare time too, and I'm gonna challenge you to a cook off or a bake off or something like that. They'll find that very likely find that very funny, and it will kind of break the ice too, and some of the tension that comes with the interview process. Mind your posture. Make sure you sit up straight, and while you're making that eye contact, it's okay to speak with your hands. Like some people, they use hand gestures to help express themselves. Don't go too off the charts, but just smaller hand gestures and right in front of you are absolutely fine. And just if you consciously find yourself that you're not sitting up straight or practicing the best posture, just correct it and keep talking like you didn't even notice. Do not cross your arms across the front of your body, across your chest or whatever, because that can make you appear closed off and unapproachable. Let's see. The next one is to minimize distractions. Turn that cell phone and other electronic devices off. I also recommend that you You may be tempted to show your technology savviness by having your tablet with you and using your iPen or what have you to take notes during an interview. I recommend not doing that because your connected device will still receive messages and alerts to from content providers that you are subscribed to, and that can be a distraction. You do not want to be distracted during an interview. It can throw your entire thought process off. I recommend for your notes during the interview process, go old school with a pen and paper. So next is dress to impress. So you know that you want this job. Make sure that you wear attire that is appropriate for the job. There are some uniform professions that some people have questions about. I always say err on the side of caution. You may feel overdressed if you wear a suit in a uniformed setting, but at least that shows your professionalism. And unless they tell you that you don't have to wear a suit, even if they expressly tell you that you don't have to wear a suit or a uniform or what have you, at least for the guys wear a pair of nicely um, nicely ironed slacks and a belt and a nice, dress shirt, and minimize flashy jewelry, but just a little bit of jewelry, and and make sure that you're groomed very well. For the ladies, if you don't want to wear a suit, you can always wear a dress that doesn't have a whole lot of floral or really really distracting design patterns on it, but like a maybe a solid color dress or two tone, and or a skirt and a blouse, skirt blouse, and modest jewelry, necklace, bracelet, ring, earrings, just to accentuate your professionalism and to help you look very well put together. And then make sure that your hair is styled nicely. It doesn't have to be down. You can have a ponytail or what have you, but just make sure you don't have the straggly hairs all over the place if you have the ponytail. Know your accomplishments. Guys, we can get into a habit of performing a job and we know full well what we do, but we have gotten what do some people call it, rote, meaning that we just do it second nature. So make sure that you practice a statement of summary regarding your duties and responsibilities, because you'd be surprised how many people are not prepared to discuss what their current position entails. Don't be that person. Um, let's see. Next, express gratitude. So remember that this person took time. First of all, they selected you out of a group of applicants who probably a group of applicants who applied for the position. So make sure that you show your manners, that you express your manners, and show gratitude for them selecting you. If they tell you thank you for coming in, you say thank you for having me. I'm excited to be considered, or excited to be here, or excited about the position, or excited about the possibility of joining your team, something like that. Just express gratitude. Don't get all syrupy and go overboard with it, but definitely express gratitude. Um, Also, when the interview is over, then make sure to offer to shake the interviewer's hand, and with a firm handshake, and make sure that you thank them once again for the opportunity to interview thank them for taking time out of their schedule to spend with you, and slip right on in there. I hope to be a member of your team soon. They'll notice it and they'll be really impressed. Ask questions. This is a big turnoff for me and lets me know that if a person does not ask questions, that's a big turnoff for me and lets me know that they didn't prepare for the interview well. Because I'm sorry, I don't care how much research you do about that employer, there's going to still be some type of question that you will have. And even if you did the interview and you have the answer to your question or feel that you have the answer to your question, look at me in the eye when I say, ask the question anyway. Ask the question anyway, because sometimes information that you get during your research while on the internet or what have you, it may not be relevant, or something may not be truthful, or it may not be complete, or it may no longer be relevant, and maybe where you researched may not have revealed those changes in that answer to that question that you're assuming that you don't need to ask. But yes, have at least, I would say, 3 to 5 questions prepared. And when you're offered the opportunity to do so, ask at least a minimum of 2, a maximum of 3, because you don't want to turn the question you're questioning into another full-blown interview. Because for one, you need to be mindful that there may be someone else that the interviewer is preparing to interview after you. And then also just make sure you ask the questions that are most impactful, like about the company's future plans, what might be most important for you to accomplish in the role if you're selected in the first 90 days. How will success be measured? Those types of things that can give you a lot of insight into company culture and those unspoken rules, unwritten rules that are part of that employer's culture. Okay. And write your questions down. That's why I say have a pen and paper. Write them down before you interview, so that, and put stars by the 2 or 3 that you definitely plan to ask. And if they answer any of those questions during the interview, then you'll have about 2 more that can replace those. And you can tell them, well, I was going to ask, what is the market sector that your segment that you're trying to grow in the most? However, you answered that. So let's see, I'll ask you this question. And that, again, it shows them in a subtle way that you did your research and you are very well prepared, not only with questions, but with extra questions in case they answer any of the ones that you were planning to ask. Mind your language. Please don't go into anyone's interview speaking a lot of colloquialisms or slang, and heaven forbid, don't use profanity during an interview. Most employers have it written in their employee behavior standards, in their handbook or policies, that it is against policy to utilize profanity. And know that the way you speak says a lot about you. And depending on your position or the job that you're vying for, you may want to change your language slightly. And especially if you're going to be um, interacting with people at all levels of the organization, understand that the language that you utilize is going to be different from a colleague that you have developed a close friendship with at work, when you all are having lunch together, what have you. as opposed to when you're interacting with your janitorial person who may or environmental services person who comes in and cleans the building versus your manager versus the way that you interact with the company president if you have opportunities to interact with him or her or another executive of the organization. And so, if you're applying for a corporate job or for a huge firm, avoid all slang, as I said, and keep it professional. And if, on the other hand, you're applying for a job with a small delivery, a small bakery or a delivery service or what have you, where everyone seems to know each other, then you can be friendly and funny usually because you have a deeper insight into that local organization that you want to become a part of. So, next is following up. And this is where some people lose the job. They have their interview and they think that the interview went so well that they have it wrapped up in the bag. That may not be so. The one of the most important things that you can do after your interview is to follow up, to show them that you are to express your continued interest in the position that you've applied for and are being considered for, and to express, because when your interview ends and you go back and you kind of play back in your mind and debrief on the conversation that was had during the interview and the things you shared, I can guarantee you that even the best interviewees, the best candidates, they forget to share something that they intended to share with the interviewer. And when you recognize that, as you follow up with a thank you, thanking them in writing for interviewing you and considering you for the opportunity, then that's the time for you to slip in there that as you can see, my experience has prepared me for this position. And in addition to what I shared, you may not be aware that I also am a certified mediator, which complements my employee relations experience or gives me or helps me to be an even better employee relations professional who can more effectively diffuse workplace conflict. See how I just kind of slipped that in there? And so you shared something else that is very vital um, with the interviewer about yourself and a strong additional qualification that they may not have taken into consideration. So keep that in mind as well. Then, um, actually, that was the last one. So those are, I mean, that's enough for you to make sure that you are sharp, have your preparation down to a science for your next interview, and that will help you to make the best possible impression of yourself with the interviewer, and hopefully land you your dream job, your job of your selected position of interest, and help you to elevate your career much sooner than later. So I hope that you have enjoyed this analysis of this article during today's Friday morning live. I'm always excited to be here. I hope that you'll continue to join me for other Friday morning lives. If you're watching the recording of this session when it becomes a YouTube video, remember that I'm on a mission to help you live your very best life. So like, the video, please, so that YouTube will know to push it out to the content out to other people who would like this content as well. And if you know someone who is also on a journey to living their best career life, please share it with them. And when you're ready, also subscribe. I want you to be one of my subscribed workplace warriors. And we can spend Friday mornings together from 7 a.m. Till 8 a.m. Some up to about 8 a.m. I can provide you with some gems to help you along the way to living your very best career life. There are other resources that will be also in the description below this recorded video when it becomes a video on YouTube. Please take advantage of those. I would love to work with you more closely. And I think that's about it. I am off to start my weekend. Hopefully, you will have a great weekend. And I'm excited because our yard family and friends celebration at my mom's is going to be tomorrow. And I am so excited for getting an opportunity to see many friends and extended family members who I don't get to see very often. So I'll tell you all about it. I'll give you a little brief synopsis during next week's Friday Morning Live. So until next time, career success to you. Have a great weekend.